Oh, I see. Happy Spirit. Live and in person from Boca Raton. Soon, all we have to do is just develop ourselves a little bit more, and we'll literally be able to be in two places at once. There's stories of some of the great Kabbalists. You're talking like 500 years ago. So you can't say, well, they had a helicopter or whatever, but they were seen on the same day in two different places, in the north of Israel, in Sfat, and also in Jerusalem, on the same weekend. And we think we're modern. We think we're, right, technologically advanced. So the closest we can get is like this, right? Like here we are in Boca, and yet at the same time, we're all over. We're in Puerto Rico, we're in Australia, we're in Hong Kong, we're in Macedonia, we're in Portland, we're in Vegas.
Where is Macedonia? Macedonia.
Just go to Greece.
There you go. Okay. Oh, and we also have Miami. Okay, all right. So here, yes, if you haven't noticed yet, the background is a little different. So we'll see how this goes. Send me your comments. I heard from people that the other was getting just bland, plain, like this, just the white background, even though it has little bumps in it. So we're trying this today. So let me know if you like it or not. Oh, Hobie sound, okay. All right, so let's get started. We're going to focus today. For those of you here, we have it up there. Our affirmation, because we want to just keep growing the consciousness. And the only way to grow the consciousness is to have consistency with a new reawakening of the awareness of what's already been inside of us, what the Creator gave us. So let's start together. Consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness towards all human beings. Great. Okay. So I hope some of you, keep writing me and let me know how you are living that. Who are you forgiving? Who are you apologizing to? How are you being kinder and nicer and more loving and compassionate to people that before that moment you weren't so? Because that's growth, and we want to inspire each other. So even if you want to put here on the comments, you don't have to give the details, but look, I was nicer to a coworker, I forgave somebody in my life, whatever, just to start inspiring each other. Because more and more, even the world these last few years have been also emphasizing. I mean, you and I have been doing this together for thousands of years. One soul, we're all, connected. The spiritual internet we always talk about on a soul level. But now the world's starting to see it on a very 1% physical material world, right? Because these last few years, what have they been saying? We're all in it together. We're all in it together. We're all in it together. What does that mean? If we're all in it together, that means somehow every human being on earth is being impacted in a similar way by whatever the circumstances are. Okay, now you and I are here in the Kabbalah Center and on Spiritual Sunday just to be able to make those circumstances greater love, kindness, and compassion. Right? More light, more blessing, more peace, more unity, and more harmony. And so we're learning how to overcome our blockages. And so let's just start. So last week we talked about the ways that people are considered dead people. And I had some very nice comments on that. And if you want to keep commenting, please do. But one of them was about being blind. So I wanted to talk about how we're blind, but in a different frame. Right? Not so much about dead, but about miracles. Miracles. So there's a Kabbalist who lived, I believe it was in the 1700s. And he wrote many things, actually. But one of the things pertinent to this morning, to today, he writes that in the end of days, which is the time you and I are living, right? Without going into the details, and those of you who are new, go online, call a Kabbalah teacher, right? Or start learning on Kabbalah.com. We are in the year 5783, Kabbalistically. There are 6,000 years till we reach the end of pain, suffering, and death. Could be sooner if we play our cards right, but that's the ultimate deadline. So we're like 98% of the way done. So he's saying in these days that we are in, the days leading up to the end of pain, suffering, and death, he says miracles will be commonplace. Miracles will be commonplace. So I wanted to put that in our consciousness because I don't think most people look at the world today and see miracles. See a lot of fighting, suffering, difficulty, challenges, negativity, traumatic experiences, on and on and on, all the divisiveness. So then where are the miracles? Where are the miracles? And so I want to present to you a few different perspectives on this. So if we start with just something similar or simple, because we've all probably, I remember going back as far as, it must have been 4th grade. So you're talking a few years ago. Okay. When there was a story, we used to have show and tell. So people used to bring in things to show, whatever. So I'll never forget this one person brought in a little news clip from a newspaper about this elderly woman who thought she saw her husband who had been working on the car. So he had it on jack, it was lifted up, and apparently the jack fell, and she saw that he was trapped under the car. So she runs over, and she literally just picked up the car to get him out. So you say, miracle. I mean, how many of us can lift up even the front end of a car? Forget, anything like that. So you consider that miraculous. Or you have things like, there was one story I read not too long ago about this woman who was like knocked into the street by somebody on, she's walking on the sidewalk, and somebody basically pushed her in the middle of the street. And she said before anything happened to her, she felt like somebody pull her out of the street and back onto the sidewalk. And when she turned around, nobody was there. So she says, like an angel coming for whatever reason just to take her out of danger. So if you think about it, we've all probably heard or had certain things like that happen to us that's pretty obvious. I mean, some of those things. Or you hear the stories about somebody's on, death's door, and people start praying and praying and praying for them, and boom, all of a sudden there's this miraculous healing, and they're out of the hospital and things like that. Some of you have been in the center for a while. You've heard a lot of those stories here, especially regarding the Zohar. People scanning the Zohar, people doing healing circles where they're reading from the healing sections of the Zohar, things like that happen. So we say, wow, I've seen miracles. We see miracles like that. But what about the biblical miracles? And this is maybe getting a little tougher. Manna from heaven, splitting of the Red Sea, the 10 plagues. So even though the Bible tells us these miraculous things, so the Zohar explains more details about it, so we see even greater miraculous things around them, but a lot of people just don't accept them. Right? It's hard to believe some of these miracles in the Bible. Why? Because people today don't think they see them. And so let's put a somewhat different perspective on miracles. So if you go online, you can look up certain websites that can tell you the exact time, even to the second, of sunrise and sunset wherever you are in the world. Okay, we are so used to that it's not a miracle. But if you think about, like, nature itself is miraculous. Why is it that nature is working so perfectly that they can tell us the exact sunrise and sunset in different parts of the world, like here in Boca? You can look it up and they can tell you to the second exactly where you are, right here in the Kabbalah Center. They can tell us exactly. We don't necessarily think about that. What about, you ever seen an oak tree? Some of these huge trees, 100 feet tall or whatever. How did they get started? A tiny little seed. So from this tiny little seed, but we don't think about it because we so take it for granted. That you put a little seed in the ground, and after a while develops this 100-foot tree. Why is that not miraculous? Because we're so used to it, right? We start to take it for granted. How about the way you and I and every human being comes into the world? That's not miraculous? A microscopic egg cell and sperm cell get together, and in 9 months, out of a woman's womb, comes a human being. A new living human being. Why is that not miraculous? Because we're so used to it, right? We see it all the time. You hear about it all the time. Your parents tell you how you were born. some parents, some parents, when the kid's causing a little bit of difficulty, and usually the mother, because obviously the mother carrying the baby, you have no idea what I did for you. I carried you for 9 months, and this is how you give me back? You act this way? Certain things like that. Okay, we all do things like that in the moment. You follow? But why don't we look at it as miraculous? If you really think about it, so years back, the Rav started, okay, I think I did it once or twice here. So if I ask you right now, who has a toothache? Any of you have a toothache? Anybody here? No toothache, right? No toothache. But how many of you up to this moment actually had conscious appreciation that you didn't have a toothache? No, usually not. Right? Why? Because what do we think the normal thing is? No toothache. Right? So you don't have a toothache, you're looking for something else. What's next? What else can I have? What else is going on? Something like that. Here. Cell phone. Take this back 200 years and start telling people that you can take a little gizmo like this and you could talk to anybody around the world. Wouldn't they consider that miraculous? And yet today, ho-hum. Why? Some of us who were around before cell phones came along in this lifetime, okay, the first 10 minutes we thought it was miraculous. Computers, airplanes, right, things like that, spacecraft. The first 5 minutes, oh, miraculous. Now it's like ho-hum. We take them so for granted. So like the Rab said with the toothache, how many of you, whatever, aches and pains, you wake up in the morning. Did you appreciate the fact you woke up in the morning? Because hundreds of thousands of people don't wake up in the morning every day. This is what I want us to start shifting our perspective. Why? Because most people don't believe that they're worthy of miracles. Why? Because a miracle is miraculous. It's extraordinary. It's supernatural. Right? It's not like everyday occurrences. So when Rabbi Azulai wrote hundreds of years ago that in our times miracles are going to be very commonplace, instead of letting that opponent in our head make us disbelieve that, why don't we start looking around to see where the miracles are? So even just a few we talked about, that you don't have aches and pains right now. Right? Or if some of you don't have in other areas aches and pains. Let's start looking for how the miracles show up. So again, a story from the Rav years back. Somebody walked into the LA center when we were making our morning connection. And somebody runs up to the Rav who'd been in the center a number of years. Says, Rav, I just had this amazing miracle. So the Rav looked, said, tell me, what was it? So he says, he was on the way to the center to come and, make the connection with us. And he had a terrible car accident, but he wasn't hurt at all, not a scratch. And he's looking like, wow, miracle. And the Rav looked at him, as the Rav would do as a master Kabbalist, to help us. I mean, it's great. It's not that you should not appreciate that kind of miracle, but the Rav was raising our consciousness. He says, I had a bigger miracle. And the student looks at him and says, really? I mean, what could be bigger than, the car, whatever, spinning and this, that, and the other thing, and no injury? The Rav said, I drove here and nothing happened. Again, how many of us really appreciate the things that truly are miraculous, but we don't define them as miracle? So we come up with this idea we're not worthy of miracles because we don't see how they're all around us. They're those exceptions to the rule. What the Kabbalists have been teaching us and guiding us towards is how we can see and make miraculous events, even if it's those kinds of things. Like a person is at the end of their rope in one way or another, and boom, them their solution, the right people come along, whatever it may be. Even if it's those kinds of things. But as Rav Ashlag teaches us, appreciation, valuing more what we have currently, is the way that we can create a vessel for our next blessing. So if you and I want greater miracles or more miracles, then our work is to appreciate the miracles that are happening to us. But if people believing miracles are the exception rather than the rule, then it's easy to fall into all that doubt and that discouragement, because don't see so many miracles. Think of your cell phone, think of your car. I mean, 300-400 years ago, a car was also miraculous, no? Vacuum cleaner wasn't miraculous? I mean, if we consider truly that, and I can already hear it, the opponent would say, yeah, but it's scientific development, right? Science just figured out the laws of the universe, the physical scientific laws, and so they create a vacuum cleaner and an airplane and all that stuff. Let's say that's true. So you and I, as long as you've been learning in the Kabbalah Center, what are we learning here? We're learning through the Zohar the spiritual laws of the universe. And what are we always working towards? Discovering, uncovering the miracles, our capability, the power of the light force of the Creator that's inside of us, uncovering that to be used at yet a higher level so we can create more miracles that in a relative way are equivalent and obviously greater, because it's the light of the Creator, than cell phones, cars, spaceship, and all of that. What's the difference? Just our misconception and misperception. And this is why the Rav always called that parasite in our head, the opponent, right, the adversary, Satan, we've learned it, the master magician. Because what's the power of a magician? It's to distract us, right? The magician will make the attention go to the right while they're doing some trickery with the left. So you're so focused on the right, looking in one direction, you're not seeing what's really going on. So like the toothache or whatever you want to say, it's the same thing. We're so distracted. How many people are caught up in what they need, really what they want, not what they really, really need? Person's having trouble in a business. So what do they think? They think they need some more deals, some more money come in, more clients, new business. People who have health issues, they think they need the cure for the health. People who are feeling lonely, looking for having a good relationship or finding a relationship. That's what people think they need. But what they really need is what they don't see. What we really may need is the opposite. Like the Rav. The Rav was showing us, we just drove here. Obviously, you guys, those who are here, right, you drove here, no accident, no problem. But up until now, did you really think that was miraculous? Or were you looking for something to be gained, inspired by here in Spiritual Sunday, maybe the meditation we do, to help you get the thing that you think you need? And again, I'm not denying that or trying to ignore that part. But like Rav Ashlag has taught us, we have to appreciate what's going on in our life now, the miracles that we have, the blessings we have, the good things we have in life now, because by appreciating it, we're expanding our vessel, our capacity. We're opening a space of light consciousness so that the light that's infinitely around us and fills us can be manifest. Because the only thing that stops or has limited us from revealing 100% of our light given to us by the Creator is our fear, anger, insecurity, jealousy, discouragement, all those things that cover up some percentage of our soul's 100% light. So that's why discover means to uncover. So like the scientists have been uncovering the laws of the universe that never changed in 15 billion years since the Big Bang. They just didn't see it. So they're uncovering their eyes to be able to see it. You and I are learning in the Kabbalah Center how to uncover our eyes spiritually so we can see the miracles and the blessings and all the infinite light around us. Because the light is infinite. And if it's infinite, it's available everywhere we go and everything we do. We just have to uncover our five senses to let the sixth sense show up. There's a prayer, or we call them spiritual connection. Okay, because we don't pray Kabbalistically. Because the traditional way, and it's again in this form, and if you're new, don't dismiss it, don't disbelieve it, don't just believe it, but take it in, mull it over, and see how it fits your awareness and your experience in life. The light is infinite. We don't pray to the Creator or to the light or whatever, because the light is always shining on us. We understand, we accept here Kabbalistically, just like electricity is always available, let's say in the plugs in your house, the outlet, you have to plug into it. So when you plug into it, you're not praying for the electricity. You're making the connection to the electricity, and when you make that proper connection by putting in the plug to your vacuum cleaner, then the vacuum cleaner can operate. So too, Kabbalistically, it's not prayer. It's making a spiritual connection, like we do with the meditations at the end of Spiritual Sunday. We're connecting to the light and drawing the light through those various 72 names of God. So there's a particular connection 6 days a week that is to help us. The Kabbalists, you could all say the words, but the Kabbalists say that the intention, the spiritual intention and connection to the inner part of those words is the most valuable. So the meditation, we call it, in this particular series of words, is to appreciate the miracles that happen every day that we don't see. Because now, like I've said a few times, appreciation is the expansion of our vessel that allows our next blessings to be revealed, the next level of our soul's light and all the blessings that it contains to be revealed. Which means, again, it's a daily, and unfortunately, even we in the center sometimes can begin to take that for granted, which is probably, in my experience, one of the most difficult things on a daily basis to work at, not taking things for granted like that. 6 days a week, basically, I make that same connection, the same words, the same things, etc., 6 days a week in the morning. Easy to take it for granted and just fall into sort of the automatic robotic saying of those words, scanning of those words, etc. Like we said, it's easy to just be robotic. You wake up in the morning. No, the Kabbalists teach us, stop. Modeh Ani, it's called. If you have the Dialing God book, many of you, I'm sure, already understand that. The conscious says you open your eyes, just appreciate the fact that you got your soul back, that you have another day to reveal more light, to remove more blockages, to have a better life and happier, more fulfilling things in life. Don't just jump up out of bed and say, oh, another day, I've got to go face this, that, and the other thing. Appreciate the fact that you woke up. Because there are a lot of people who don't. Appreciate you have food, clothing, and shelter. A lot of people don't. When my kids were younger, when they'd start to take for granted various things that we were giving them. So I went on the internet and I showed them, there was a website, I'm sure it's probably still available, where it would show you, it took like the 8 billion people of the planet and broke it down, so to speak, to 100 people. So they'd say less than 1 out of 100, something like that, and I don't remember, so don't quote me exactly, but less than 1 out of the 100 had like indoor plumbing. We take for granted we have indoor plumbing. And it went on with things like that, just to show us that we should feel like we've won the lottery when you look at the world and some of the situation. The same thing, whatever, 1 or 2 out of the 100 relative to the 8 billion are living on $1 or $2 a day. Things like that. So I just wanted to put into their heads the appreciation for what they've got. Because yes, if we're revealing, let's say, 70% of our potential, that's great. Appreciate the 70%. You will open your vessel to reveal the 75 or 80. The next level's up. So the Rav and Karen always taught us, yes, you make a breakthrough, appreciate it, and then look, how can I do more? Because I go to 75, great. But there's still 25% more I can get. Appreciate the 75 and the breakthrough you made to get there, but then keep going. Then when you get to 75 and you make the breakthrough to get to 80, appreciate it and keep going. This is the way we will speed up the process to get to 100%. But we've got to start opening our eyes. As the Kabbalists tell us, the eyes of the Creator. Or we've talked about, the Zohar calls it the eyes of our heart, to be able to see the miracles around us, to see everything. Because we're always living two realms. And there's an interesting story we just read. Those of you who are newer, the Kabbalists teach us that the Bible, the 5 books of Moses, is true. We believe those stories happened. We believe those people existed. But the most important thing is, what spiritual lesson? How, in the same way, how can we see through just the outside of the story and the literalness of it to understand the spiritual technology that they're revealing through those stories? So there's a very interesting story that shows us a few lessons. Moses, like we said, the miracle. So Moses comes along, the Israelites are enslaved in Egypt, right? He makes the connection to the Creator, the 10 plagues come along, 10 miracles, like never happened in history, free us out of our slavery. And we talked about that a couple months ago, I think, here in Spiritual Sunday, what slavery really is. We're now 7 days later, we're facing the Red Sea. It's closed, the whole thing, splitting the Red Sea, another miracle. Few days later, we're complaining to Moses. Moses, we don't have water to drink. We're at this source of water, this lake, and it was bitter water. So instead of appreciating the miracle of free from Egypt, the 10 plagues, the splitting of the Red Sea, we're complaining again. So here's another story. Manna from heaven. Manna from heaven could taste like whatever you wanted it to taste like. It filled us perfectly. It nourished us body and soul perfectly. It was always there. It was supplied every day. But what happened? Because we still had the opponent in our head. So the story that I'm referring to, we, because it's not them, it's us, they're complaining. What is this manna? It looks the same thing. Yeah, it could taste like whatever I want, but it still looks the same. So instead of being appreciative that we have the supply every day, exactly what we need, it could taste like whatever we want. Now we're looking and says, yeah, but it looks the same. So I want it to look different. So they complain to Moses. We complain to Moses. We want meat. Give us meat to eat. I mean, meal, physical meat. So there's various commentaries, some that make it sound worse, that we can learn the lesson. Complaining. What does complaining mean? When you think, when you hear yourself complaining, what are you really saying? I don't see the infinite light around me. I don't believe the light has a solution to my difficulty. I don't believe I'm capable, because of the light inside me, to overcome this illusion, this difficulty, to remove this chaos by transforming it back into harmony and order. That's why people complain. Think about it. Who complains when they get a raise? Who complains when they find, the love of their life? Who complains when the good things happen? Nobody complains then. Only when we think we don't get what we want, or something apparently bad happens or whatever, then we complain. So the Kabbalists are writing, and pertinent today, the point is, what the Kabbalists say is, it wasn't, without all the details, it wasn't a problem to ask for the meat itself. The real mistake that we made back then was not trusting that if we really needed the physical meat in that moment, that it would show up like the manna, like the water. There was a well. You imagine walking around in the desert and a well of water followed us every day to supply water. Not we walked and there was another lake and a supply. No, the well actually moved in the ground to supply millions of people with water every day. Manna fell to supply millions of people with food. So we were on that level. Like you and I, you want to compare it, because I know we say, I've never seen a well move. I've never seen manna from heaven. Go back to your cell phone, your computer. Here, we're on a computer. This invisible thing called an internet allows me to be here in Boca with wonderful people here and be with you wonderful people all over the world. Why is that not considered in our mind like manna from heaven? Because now we're so used to it being normal that even for you and I, some of us who remember the times when there wasn't even a roaming phone. You remember house phones? Some of us, they were all wired to the wall, stuck. You couldn't move with them. And then came the little wireless ones that you could walk around your house with. And then came cell phones. So each step was miraculous, and then it became normal. That's what you and I were experiencing in that desert. Oh, 10 miracles of the 10 plagues. Now it became normal. Splitting the Red Sea, miracle, and then it became normal. We stopped appreciating. That's the point. Whatever we need, and you and I learn from Kabbalah 1 forward, whatever we need is happening in the moment. We just have to be able to see it. We just have to appreciate it. So like this quail, we're living in two realms. We learn from Kabbalah 1, class 1. We're living, let's call it for today, we're living in the realm of miracles, but we also live in the 1% physical material world where we don't see the miracles, where we see basically just the chaos. And with the help of that opponent in our head, that's what we focus on. The chaos, the discord, the lack, what we don't have, what's not going well. No, even realize that our soul is setting us up with what we need when we need it. So, reminder, everything, every detail is cause and effect. And when we make a reactive mistake, we act with jealousy or greed or insecurity or a sense of lack or judgment, we cover up some of our soul's light. We put it in a shell like an egg, and then our soul, when we say, give me more blessing, our soul says, here's your light, but it's in the shell you created. So we learn even the challenges in our life, even the difficult situations are miraculous because it gives us an opportunity to remove the shell of what we did. Fear, anger, insecurity, judgment, jealousy, guilt, shame, to remove that shell and reveal light. You remember those, and I guess they still have them, when a person buys a lottery ticket, it's got that like silver paint on it, so you got to scratch off the silver paint to see if you won. That's the idea. The silver paint is metaphorically is the shells we created over our light's blessing, the winning lottery numbers of our life, with that fear or insecurity or impatience or insensitivity like that. We put the paint. So then it has to come back to us. If you want to win your lottery, the ticket has to come with the right numbers, but you got to scratch off that silver paint, which is transforming your ego to humility, your guilt to apology, judgment to wishing the person well. All those things. Insecurity, lack to generosity. You make that shift, you uncover the winning lottery numbers of your life. That's what we're here to do. So we're living in those two realms. The miracles, where they are already existent around us, but like we're saying today, we've got to open our spiritual eyes, open the eyes of your heart to be able to see those miracles. And yes, even the challenges, as we just said, are miracles. They're miracles. And I'll add one more thing to that for you and me. For those of us in the center, those of you who are been in the center, working, scanning your Zohar, supporting the center financially, breaking through forgiveness, kindness, love, compassion, making those efforts to share your light uncomfortably. That's transformation. If you share within your comfort zone, great. That's how you maintain the blessings you have. But like we said, even if you're 90% of your potential, 10% is hidden. So 90% you're sharing in your comfort zone. And yes, that opponent in your head is going to say, well, you look at other people, they don't share like you. Sure, because if you're at 90% and somebody's at 80%, their comfortable sharing is 80%. Yours is 90%. So it's going to be easy to say, oh, I share more than them. But are you sharing to your capacity? Are you sharing to your potential? No, 10% more to go. So we learn what's called transformational sharing is when I share uncomfortably. So I may be sharing 90% love, kindness, and compassion, but we understand the Creator implanted in the endless world 100%. So we have 10% more love we can offer to the person we don't love, compassion to the person that we're judging, right? Kindness to the people we're screaming at, not so nice, turning our back on, ignoring. We have 10% more to go. That's the uncomfortable sharing. You do that, you get blessed. Cause and effect, it comes back. So if you've been working with any of that technology here in the center for as long as you've been in the center, then even the challenges that come your way, no matter what they are, miraculous. I told somebody yesterday, I said, imagine a person has created $100,000 debt. Okay, I don't think anybody in this room here. Okay, we may have some debt, but okay. So imagine somebody $100,000 credit card debt, and they go to one of these places, right, where they negotiate however it works, and somebody comes to them and says, you know, yes, you owe $100,000. You got the benefit of the $100,000, right? You got all those goods and services, but you only have to pay back $10,000 and they'll erase all of your debt. Would you consider that a miracle or not? Sure, it'd be miraculous, right? But you'd still have to come up with the $10,000. But when you look at it like in the big picture, paying off $100,000, and remember, you got the goods and services, whatever it was, and now all you have to do is pay $10,000. So you and I spiritually, it's the same thing. If you've been sharing and breaking through, sharing uncomfortably, sharing beyond your current comfort zone to the next, and when that becomes comfortable to the next like that, then whatever comes your way is similar, as I call it, pennies on the dollar of your spiritual debt. So yes, it may be an effort to push yourself. Like the person who may only have $1,000 in the bank, they have to now scramble for whatever within the month to come up with $10,000 to pay off their $100,000, but they're willing to scramble because they see if they don't get it in a month, then they got to owe the $100,000. Goes back to more. So you and I have all the tools and the technology how to do that, but we have to appreciate that. So stop looking and say, oh, why is this happening to me? In fact, along those lines, in the last probably 6 months, maybe a year, I've had numerous people come along and say, Chaim, this person has this, people all around them have all kinds of trouble. Health problems, relationship problems, children problems, whatever, business problems. And they'll come to me and they'll say, Chaim, this and this and this. They'll tell me all those stories. And then they say, why is it happening around them? Why is it all happening around them? Why is it happening around them? So I look at them, I say, where's your appreciation? What? Because they feel bad. And I'm not telling you should be insensitive to that. It's all around. It's not you. You're not with a health issue. You're not with a business problem. You're not with those troubles. It's around you. Why? Because you're a student in the Kabbalah Center. You have tools. You have ability. Zohar, Ana B'Koach, helping the scholarship funds, the Zohar project, donate, whatever it is. You have the ways and means to help all those people around you who have those issues. You have a way to waken up their soul. So appreciate it's around you and not you. But again, distraction, the magician in our head that wants to challenge us. Oh no, stay in your comfort zone. That's the challenge of the opponent. Stay in the comfort zone or share uncomfortably and expand your vessel and reveal more light. That's where we are. So today is the day to start waking up. Acknowledge you drive to work without an issue. Appreciate it when you get there. You hear the voice in your head. Today I was about to walk out of the house. Don't ask me how I got distracted and forget the computer. That obviously I need to get to all of you wonderful people out there around the world. I could have come and just talked to the people here, but I heard the voice. You forgot something. Oh, and I've learned. Thank you. Thank my angels. Thank my soul. Just appreciate those little things, because all the little things add up to bigger and bigger things. Then you start to get bigger messages. You start to get bigger awareness. So just start to appreciate. We wake up and acknowledge. Our challenges are blessings. The blessings we have are miracles. Everything. Just start to wake up. We are miracles. Sort of in closing, and then we'll do our meditation. We are miracles. How many times can we look in the mirror? Have you ever looked in the mirror and said, you are a miracle? No. All right? So isn't it amazing how many times you'll talk to somebody who you know they've had an issue with somebody in their life, and then you say, you hear them say, a miracle happened. That person at work who's been so nasty, smiled at me. Miracle. Wow. Okay, it is a miracle, but appreciate it. Don't just look at, oh, isn't it miraculous? Yes, those are miracles. So look in the mirror. You are a miracle. Tell yourself you are a miracle. You are a miracle of the universe. You are a miracle with the power of the Creator. See the ability you have to be that miracle maker, because the Creator put in you the power of creation itself. The thing is, we're creating all the time, all parts of our world, because we are creators in our world. We are creating this world. So decide today, let's all together decide and commit ourselves to create more and more miracles in our lives by going outside our comfort zone, sharing that next level up, love, kindness, and compassion, whatever else it may be, so that you're creating for you on a moment-to-moment basis a more heavenly existence. And then when together, all of us, all the students of the center are constantly reminded and inspired and motivated, we're all in it together. There's only one soul. So today, as you and I and all the students of the center are committing and deciding, I want to manifest my ability to make miracles of the light, more clear and direct miracles, so that I will be the miracle maker by what? Seeing with the eyes of our heart that everybody is a part of me, everybody has light in them, everything around me is filled with the light is infinite, the Creator is available everywhere, so miracles are available. And as we'll do that in unity, because we are one soul, we'll be able to reveal so much light in the world that will bring everybody on earth to start being inspired, have that inner sense and that inner urge to also share their next level up outside their comfort zone, to not punch the person that they were about to punch, to not scream and yell at the person they were about to scream and yell or whatever it is, but to act collectively with greater love, kindness, and compassion. So this heavenly experience that we are expanding individually will start to expand so much that it will envelop the entire world. And 8 billion people on the planet will have a daily, constant, heavenly existence. God bless. Thank you. So let's make miracles. Let's start. Whatever it is, and I appreciate again, every day, every Sunday, I know, and many of you are on a regular recurring donation to the center, which I want to appreciate sort of in the name of the center and for here Spiritual Sunday. And I know many of you are constantly giving, and we do every week the same thing. We do our meditation because we never want to take for granted the resources that the Creator has given us. Yes, we work to make them manifest, but it's still ultimately sourced in the light of the Creator that we channel more and more. So taking this time to meditate and to inject light and love into our offering is what, one, will bring it back many, many times over for you, but it also helps speed up the process of spreading the Zohar around the world, bringing more people to the Kabbalah Center by the scholarship fund, or just energetically. The more people who are accessing the technology of the center, which is literally to spread the light of the Zohar to 8 billion people and surround the world with light, the more of us accessing more of that energy, we speed up the revelation of that 100%, the Garden of Eden that's sitting here. So those of you here, please hold your offering in your hand. Those of you online, I put it there. Let me just put it again in case. Here's the website that you can make your offering. Just close our eyes for a moment and just inject our love, our blessing, our kindness and compassion, and also our heartfelt desire as we're feeling, experiencing more and more the true one soulness of humanity. That there is only one soul in this world. It shows up in 8 billion bodies. And as we're empowering the projects of the center with our support, we are removing the veils, the curtains of illusion that keep the illusion of 8 billion separate people. We're removing that illusion by turning on the light between us, the light inside of us, and shining it out, that more and more people on the planet are seeing, feeling in their heart the true oneness of humanity and awakening the true soul and heart desire to bring peace and harmony to ourselves and through ourselves to every single human being on the planet. So we send this out through the projects of the center with our love and our blessing, knowing with certainty it comes back to us many, many times over. Together we say, Amen. So now, let me put it here on the screen for those of you here. Okay, oh, there we go. For those of you who are newer, Samech Yud Tet, this is one of the 72 names of God. Those of you who are brand new, the Hebrew or the Aramaic letters just shine the light of the Creator. They are not just an alphabet. They are not just symbols. They are not part of a language. They are literally spiritual photons, or the Rav and Karen used to call them nanoparticles of the light of the Creator. Eyes being the window to the soul. As we look at the light that's radiating out of them, our soul is being awakened. And Samech Yud Tet is the power of making miracles, or as we also said today, seeing the miracles that are always happening. So just let the shapes, Samech Yud Tet, be engraved in your mind's eye. And then if I can ask you, sitting comfortably in your seat, hands flat on the floor, or hands flat in your lap, feet flat on the floor. Just take a few deep breaths, breathing in through the nose, hold the breath for a moment, exhale through the mouth. Allowing yourself to relax into the light of the Creator. With every breath, which is the light of the Creator, feeling more and more of that awakening inside you, becoming more aware of the infinite light of the Creator inside you, all around you, feeling embraced by this light. And strengthening your desire to be a stronger, a bigger vessel and conduit of the light given to you, to be that conduit and channel of light, sharing it into the world by emanating it out of your heart and soul with all the proactive sharing actions: love, kindness, generosity, compassion, apology, forgiveness. And so we appreciate who we are as a miracle maker, appreciating the miracles that we have experienced and now realize we're constantly experiencing them. And so together we see the Samech Yud Tet, the name of miracles, just above our head, shining with the infinite bright light of the Creator. And now slowly allowing that energy force entering through the top of your head, awakening a higher level of conscious awareness of the miracles that you can create in your life, a greater appreciation for the miracles you've been taking for granted. And as this energy, Samech Yud Tet, awakens the light in every cell of your body, every aspect of the light that's implanted in you from the endless world. Realizing how many more miracles you are able to create, and together the ultimate miracle, bringing oneness, unity, love to the entire planet. As you're making a stronger connection to this energy in the Samach Yud Tet, let's together as one soul, shining out from our heart, to the heart and to the soul of every human being on earth, the power, the energy, the light force of the Samach Yud Tet, that we're awakening the miracle maker inside every person, that they are also having that awakening and a greater conscious awareness of the miracles they have experienced, the miracles that are taking place every day in their life, and the enthusiasm and motivation to share beyond their comfort zone and manifesting yet greater miracles of harmony, order, peace. That there's a higher level in every human being to think of ways to help others, to share their light with others, and then take the actions to share and manifest that light. Listen to the voice of your soul that's speaking to you now, for it's telling you what your next level of making miracles is, who and where you need to share light towards. Hear it, accept it. With the power of the Samach Yud Tet, commit yourself to do that action of sharing. Keeping in mind to your highest benefit first and foremost, to do that act of sharing, and then revealing more and more light in the world by that act of sharing, removing the darkness, the chaos, the illusion of separateness. Draw from the Samach Yud Tet another boost to transcend your limitations, to reveal higher levels of your capability, and feel the joy, the excitement, the happiness that you're already experiencing from that next level up in your spiritual evolution. And together we'll take one more deep breath, anchoring this into our heart and soul. And as you exhale, Slowly opening your eyes. Just also want to remind you, I threw it out there about doing a Spiritual Sunday Kabbalah 1 on Zoom for those of you who are not close to a center. I've had a few responses, but I just want to put it out there again. If you're interested to join us on Zoom for a live and interactive Kabbalah 1 course for the Spiritual Sunday community, please write me. You can write me here on Facebook, you can email me, or whatever other ways you reach me. Call the center here if you want, and let me know that you'd be interested, and then we can set a time and a date. All right? Have an amazing week. God bless. Those of you who are here, thank you very much. Those of you around the world, thank you for joining us. Please just share the videos, share the messages. Also, we're on the YouTube, a Spiritual Sunday YouTube channel. Let other people have access so that those who are ready, because of the meditations and the energy we just sent out, they'll be able to find us more easily, and we'll change the entire planet more quickly. God bless. Have a great day and a great week. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. If you liked what you saw, subscribe to this channel that you'll be notified when we post new videos. Share the video with your friends, they can also benefit. And check out the website, www.kabbalah.com, that's Kabbalah, for hundreds of articles and classes. Wish you an amazing day, and God bless.